Peace and Yah bless. Yah is a strong one. The strong one is Yah. He's the tree of life. He's the fountain of living waters. He's the spirit and creator of all things that live and breathe. On this particular discourse, I'm going to talk about Earth, or what they call Earth, or what some may call Terra. Okay? T-E-R-R-A. Okay? It's called by several different kinds of names, anciently and also today. I would say, to be clear, to truly understand the Bible from the beginning, you have to understand what the earth looks like. And yes, from babies, they teach us the earth is this big round ball object sitting out in the middle of outer space. And the sun's out there too, and other planets. If you use your eye and you look at the obvious, okay, you can figure things out. If the sun is in outer space, then all of outer space would be lit up. The same way the earth is illuminated. Think about that for a minute. If you do not understand what the earth truly looks like, you're going to be a horrible Bible student. So we're going to start in Genesis. Okay? We always look at the proof. We don't go off of our own notions or things like that. We look at the proof. And as you can see, even back anciently, in ancient days, they always depicted the earth as having a dome over the top of it. Kind of like what you see at a football stadium. Okay? Kind of wonder where to get the concept from, right? But they always, it's not that it's not a circular, but it's a circular disc flat, not a big circle ball, okay, that they depict it as such. And if you think about it, not even the laws of gravity could support a round earth as far as in a ball structure, because the earth's on the buildings on the bottom of the earth would have to be shaped totally different. I'm talking about like where Australia is and all that. They'd have to be shaped totally different from the buildings on top, right? Because they would be sitting upside down, right? And we would be sitting right side up, depending on where you're located, right? If it were a round structure. Get with a good architect or a pilot. A pilot can tell you whether or not the earth is flat because they actually know. Now, most pilots are contracted and they can't tell you that. But if you can find one, okay, who's honest, he might actually really tell you that because they have the flight paths and they have the flight, the maps. They know what's what. Okay? Because they've been up there. They've seen it. All right? So let's start in Genesis. All right, the book of Genesis. The book of Genesis begins explaining to us what the earth looks like from the start. Okay, now let's start at chapter 1, right, where you see these things. Okay, verse number 3, the biggest thing ever said, right? And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Okay, now some say that just means knowledge, and it could mean that. All right, in other words, let there be knowledge. Intelligence. All right. And God saw the light and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. Okay. And God called the light day and the darkness night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now those are key. Those are very key elements right there. The evening and the morning were the first day. Now, what it's telling you, obviously, the evening is the first thing mentioned. So that's the beginning point of a day. Always, all right? Always. Or the darkness, right, is the beginning point of the day. That's where a day begins at. Now, going all the way to the morning, which is, almost 12 hours later, doesn't mean that it ends at that particular point because we know that a day is 24 hours. Okay? So that's why we tell you, obviously, a day is evening to evening, or what you would call dark to dark. So when the sun goes down, a day begins. You go all the way around that day, and when the sun's going down again and it's dark, that day ends. That's 1 24-hour period. That is a day. Okay? And anybody with any kind of eclectic knowledge can already tell you that. And they are, really man already tells you that, because they start, at least in North America and really all over the world, even using the Gregorian calendar, they start the day at midnight. Okay? They don't start it really at the evening when it first gets dark. They wait till it gets sometime into what they call the midpoint of the night. Then they start the next day. So they're already telling you this concept. So just because you get up in the morning doesn't mean that's when your day starts or when the day started. It might be when your day starts, when you get up and go to work, like we all do, right? But that's not when the biblical day starts. The biblical day starts when it gets dark. And that's what it's trying to tell you here. Okay, the evening and the morning were the first day. All right? Do your due diligence. Okay? Now, the next thing. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide waters from waters. Now, what does that mean? Okay, now firmament, if you don't know what the firmament is, you're already going to be thrown off. Like I said, as a Bible student, you got to go look these things up. And you can just Google a lot of these things to find out what it is these days. See, back in the day when I was learning this stuff, man, it was tough to learn. Now it's just easy to learn because it's all out there for you. Now, firmament, as you can see right here, they call it the vault of heaven, or as a solid dome, okay? The earth is a pressurized dome system. We sit underneath a pressurized dome because there's actually water on top of that dome that divides us from the heavenly realm of God, okay? All right. Now, when you understand that concept, you'll be better off. And that's what they're depicting right here. And you see all these different, pantheons or different peoples and how they saw the earth. Notice none of this stuff is really outside of being a pressurized dome. See, there's a dome. Even the Egyptians seen it that way. All these old cultures always seen it that way. What NASA teaches is all just basically bull crap. All right, because they're not teaching what's in this book, because NASA themselves, they think of themselves as being God. That's what that was all about, going to the moon. Oh, we made it to the moon. We're up here with God. Look at us. Look what we can do. Okay, when they know that they can't actually travel to the moon because the moon's not a planet. It's just a light, as this book tells you so. Okay, so let's go back over what we just read, okay? So the Most High divided darkness in the night. Okay, he gave each one a name. Then the cycle of days begins, right? Starting with the evening or the nighttime. And it travels 24-hour period back over to the next, at sunset, right? When it gets dark again, the next day begins. Okay, so that's when the cycle started here in Genesis chapter 1. Okay, then you see the firmament. Okay, and that divides the waters, right? Now look what it says, okay? And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from waters. Then it gives you details, okay? And God made the firmament, right? Okay, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. You see, there's waters above that glass dome. That's why you see the sky as being blue, because there's water above that glass dome. And that water above that glass dome is what the clouds receive, right? When the clouds receive rainwater from above the glass dome, coming directly from God, right? Then it can rain on the earth. Simple as that. Okay? That's what that means. Okay? Remember, It's a solid dome. This firmament, right? Firmament, okay? Or they call the vault of heaven, okay? A solid dome, that's what it is. Very easy to ascertain this information. As I told you, you don't understand this stuff, man. You as a Bible student, you're going to be lost right out the box, okay? You have to know this, all right? So that's what that's for, okay? So it looks just like it says it looks, okay? The earth is round, flat, like on the horizon. Then it has what? It has these vaults above it that they call the heaven. Then you have the heavens of heavens above. See the water right here? See, we are below water. We are in a pressurized system. We are below water. Above this water is where the kingdom, or what people would call the kingdom of heaven. Okay, the great throne room. That's above the waters. We sit in a glass dome. Okay, a translucent glass dome. All right, below water. That's how the earth was designed. It's not a big old ball. It doesn't rotate. The only thing that rotates are what they call the ecliptic. The ecliptic is all of your constellations, that you name yourself after, whenever you were born, at whatever particular time you were born and all that. I'm talking about all the stars, what they would call Mars and Jupiter. All those things are really just stars, because the only planet is Earth. Everything else you're seeing out there on the telescopes, they're all just stars. You know what I mean? It's what they are. All right. Average person knows that. But we are underneath water as this is depicted, because we are separated from the heavenly realm. Now, here's the key. The glass dome itself, or the firmament, is what's called heaven. Now, inside of this heavenly glass dome is the sun and the moon and the stars, okay? And you can read that right here in Genesis, okay? Genesis 1. So go read for yourself. Now, I want you to do your own research. It's really an easy thing to understand, even though it seems like it's complicated, okay? So let's go to verse number 8. And God called the firmament heaven, right? And the evening and the morning were the second day. So there you are. And the day cycles have begun at that particular time. Okay. So that's how you know that a day begins at night. As I already tell you, at midnight, man changes the clock or the day. You know what I'm saying? Changes the day at that particular time. It says, okay, he changes the calendar. Okay, it's the next day. But they say it's at the middle of the night instead of at the beginning. After the sun sets, when it gets dark, if you understand what I'm saying. I hope you understand that, okay? So verse 9. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let dry land appear. And it was so. And that's what you see right here, the dry land, okay? Or what they call the earth, or terra, okay? All right. Verse 10. And God called the dry land earth, right? And the gathering together of the waters was called the seas, okay? And God saw that it was good. Okay? All right. Then it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Now let's get to the lights. Okay. So go to verse 14. All right. And God said, notice he's speaking all this stuff, or he's thinking in his mind. So when you're reading this, look at it like God thinking out loud. He's thinking out loud. He's saying this in his mind, saying God said. And also he can be literally speaking these things into existence. In other words, whenever he speaks something, it appears. That's how powerful God is, okay? Or he can just be thinking about doing it, and then he creates it. Then he goes, aha, that's good. You know what I mean? Once he has created it, right? Whatever, all these great things that we see today that we call the earth, right? So verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament. Okay, once again, the firmament is a solid dome, right? Okay, in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, right? And let them be for signs, as I tell you all about the eclipses. There are signs. There are signs about different things, whether it's a red moon or whether it's the solar eclipses and all those things, okay? It's good to study that stuff to kind of understand. There are signs, right? For seasons and for days and for years, okay? That's why people use the sun, you know, for the years. The moon judges the months. Okay, the stars be in different positions, you know, wherever they are for different seasons. Okay, but not to be studied to you know, be doing, you know, when people do witchcraft and stuff with. It's not to be studied for that particular reason. They're only just signs for three things: seasons, days, and years. Okay, verse 15. Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. Okay, now check it out. And God made two great lights. The greater light to rule the day, that's obviously the sunlight, right? And the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars, okay? So simple as that. There are two great lights that were made, the sun and the moon. It's not a planet. It's a translucent light. Simple as that. Think whatever you want to think. Believe the textbooks. See, they don't want to tell you guys this information because they have to go change all the textbooks from that lie. Because, see, the problem with man is always wanted to be like God. As you read in Isaiah 14. Lucifer, son of the morning. What is it? I'm going to be like God. I'm going to try to be like it. Right? But the Most High said, no, I'm going to bring you down to the earth, to the sides of the pit, like all the rest of regular men. Okay? That Lucifer, son of the morning, you know, for whatever reason, couldn't understand that. Now, Lucifer, son of the morning is just a regular man, a ruler. All right? So I'm not going to get into Isaiah 14. You got to go read that for yourself. All right? So very, very, very extremely important information. Okay? 17. God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. Okay? So that's simple. So you got to go really read this on your own and get some better understanding of what this stuff's all about to, you know, be able to understand it. Now look right here. It says waters above. Okay? See, there's water above this pressurized glass dome system that Yah created, the God of Israel created. Okay? And it's called literally heaven, or the heaven, or in heaven, just heaven itself, because there's a heaven of heavens above this water right here. We sit below this water because it's a boundary. Okay? It's the boundary between Yah, the God of Israel, and mortal men. Okay? We don't exist in the same realms. We exist in two different realms. But Yah judges over the earth and knows what's going on earth all the time. Then it tells you about the two great lights, the sun and the moon. And all the sun and the moon do is go like this, round and round. Round and round, round and round. Now, what they call the North Pole and South Pole, really kind of no such thing. But here's what it is. This ice belt is a boundary, and it is a boundary that you can travel to, but you can't go past that boundary. So you can't go all the way out to the end of the dome. You can only go up to it. And, you know, what they call Antarctica. That's what this ice belt is right here that goes around the entire earth. Once again, the earth is rounded on a horizon, not like a ball. Okay, as you see right here in Genesis itself, that tells you all these things and gives you all these details. And you can see all the things that I notice what I circled, said, good, called, said, right? Made, called. Right? Said, you know, you see the Most High creating, you see his creative process by highlighting those particular words, how God spoke things literally into existence, or he calls it into existence, or he literally makes it. Like it says right here in verse number 7, God made, so he physically made the firmament. But in some places, he just says it. And then when it gets done, he says, it is good. Powerful, man. That's powerful. Very powerful. So your thoughts about what the heavens are, what the earth looks like, they're totally off, man. And many people know this, but they call it conspiracy. There's nothing conspiracy about it. It's right here in the first chapter of Genesis. It tells you all these things about all the creative processes of God and all the great things he created, including man himself. Okay? Very important that you understand and know this. If you don't, you're never going to understand how to keep the heavenly festivals that Yah requires all of mankind to keep, especially Israel. All right? The firmament, the vault of heaven. Okay? A solid dome. Okay? And you can see it right here in all these ancient cultures, how they viewed it just like that, because they knew. They knew it was a solid dome. Okay? NASA, I'm not trying to take anything from them, but what they teach in those textbooks is straight up lie. Okay? So they can, get donations and money to keep that stuff going. They go underneath the ocean to film that stuff. That gives them the appearance of them flying in the, floating in the atmosphere and all done underneath the ocean. Ask somebody. Ask somebody with knowledge and they'll tell you. Okay? So just as the Bible depicts the firmament or this vault, what they call, and notice the rainbow goes shaped in that same vault. Okay? The rainbow is shaped in that same vault. All right? Now remember, this vault is called heaven. The heaven, or what's called heaven, contains the sun, the moon, and all the stars and constellations. Now, above that, well, there's water. Remember, there's waters in between, right? That's why I tell you the Most High divided the waters from waters, one of the first things that happens, right? See, it says waters above the firmament, right? Then here's a gate. Okay, there's a gate somewhere up there, okay, that the angels travel through. Jacob's ladder, right? But anyway, okay, now the heavens of heavens is the heavenly realm of God, okay, that sits above that water, okay? We're in a pressurized system. And then you have earth, okay? And then there's waters below that, below the earth, right? Obviously. But it's not a rotating ball, okay, like they tell you. It's a static, pressurized system. It sits still. The only thing that moves are the sun, the moon, and the stars above our head, the ecliptic. All that stuff moves around. But the earth itself does not spin. Because if the earth was spinning, you could not land an airplane correctly. Because there's no telling, you couldn't land in the same spot twice. Because remember, it's traveling. It's spinning. You couldn't kick a field goal. Because the earth would be spinning. The earth sits still. But above our heads is the sun, the moon, and the stars. It spins. So the whole entire heavenly ecliptic does spin above our heads. Okay? Because it moves according to seasons. Right? In the years and for days. It is the signs that tells you that. Okay? Now, I'm not here to overthrow NASA. I'm just telling you one day, our children are going to know the truth, and we're going to teach them the truth. Okay? Our textbooks ain't going to have nothing about no round earth. We're going to show it to them just as it always was shown. I'm not sure at what point they stopped telling people this information. Okay? Telling you the earth is round. Earth is nowhere near round. Okay? And it's just round once again, on the horizon. And then it has boundaries. So what do you have? You have boundaries up, boundaries out, and boundaries down. So let me show you how the Most High works. The earth boundaries. You can only go so far up in the air. And then what happens? Even these great pilots who fly the F-35s, the F-16 fighters, they know this already. Ask any good pilot, they'll tell you can only go so far up in the air. And then you'll probably suffocate, run out of air. Okay? Now, here's the horizon. You can only go so far out. Okay? Because here are the boundaries. What they call Antarctica. You can only go so far out. Okay? You can't go to the end of the glass dome. Okay? The Most High has us totally under control. Okay? You can only go so far out. You can only go so far up, right? Because you can't go up and meet with the Most High above this water. You see the water right here? You can't go up above that and go meet with the Most High, okay? And you can only go so far down in the waters because you'll do what? You will run out of air. No matter how many air tanks you got. You can have 100 air tanks with you. You still, once you go so far down in that water, your alveoli, what they call alveoli, you know, your little air sacs in your lungs, they will collapse. Ask any Navy, SEAL, or Marine. Your alveoli in your lungs will collapse. Doesn't matter if you got an air tank on you or not, once you go so far down in the water. So there are boundaries up, there are boundaries out, and there are boundaries down that the Most High created, okay? And keeps everything and everybody under control. Simple as that. He's the God. He created us. He can have us under control. And he has his system in perfect alignment and under control. And it's been that way since he first created it. And we don't know when. Because all these calendars are actually wrong. Nobody knows the date and time. Okay? Remember Exodus 12, that the actual date and time had to be given back to Moses and Aaron. Okay? The Most High had to teach them when they came out of captivity what time it was, because they actually did not know. Okay? So go get to understand those definitions about the earth, especially the firmament and what it is, the glass dome, the heavens of heavens, the waters above us. There's waters above our head. Okay? So God's not that far away like you would think. Okay? But there's waters above our head. We are in a pressurized dome system. Okay? That's what we're inside of. All right? That's why all these greenhouse gases is very important for us in the future to eliminate or at least curtail greenhouse gases, because we have to breathe the same air inside of this pressurized dome. All right? That they call heaven. The sun, the moon, and stars. That's heaven. The heavens of heavens is above the glass dome. Okay? You see right there. Heavens of heaven. You see God up there, right? He's above the water. Okay? All right. Then there's the earth. That's how he constructed the earth. Right here in Genesis. All right? Go read it for yourself, man. Don't take my word. Read it for yourself. And get your own discernment. Okay? But that's what he's talking about in verse 7. And God made the firmament or the glass dome and divided waters which were under the glass dome from the waters which were above the glass dome. All right? That's what the Most High is trying to tell you right there. Okay? All right, so there's a lot of elements right there. And then he made boundaries. Boundaries up, boundaries down, and boundaries out of this particular system. So you can only go so far up. See, whenever they shoot these missiles up, you notice they go up and then they can only go so far up, then they got to turn off and go into the ocean. When they have rockets go up, the rockets go so far up and then they turn off and go into the ocean. That's what happened to that space shuttle, Atlantis. They're trying to go up and bust through the glass dome. But it's a boundary there. You can only go so far up. That's why it did what? It disintegrated. Taking the lives of all those so-called NASA astronauts back in the 1980s when that happened. 90s, whenever that was. Okay? You can only go so far up. You can't meet with God. Okay? You can only go so far down. What they call the great deep. All right? You can only go so far out on the horizon. You can't go all the way to the firmament because there's that, what they call Antarctica. There's that ice belt in between you. Okay? Ancient Hebrew conception of the universe. They knew. They understood this according to what the text tells us. So we need to look at this instead of looking at textbooks that man made up telling you that the earth is round. When all you got to do is use your own due diligence and figure out that buildings would be upside down on the down side of the earth if that was true. And it looks to me like all the buildings sit right side up. Right? Okay. Okay. If it was a round object. All right? It's a very, very, very round, I would say, horizon, flat object. Okay? Just as, it's been depicted throughout time. Like I said, I don't know when they stopped teaching that. All right. That's what the true earth looks like. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I hope it's illuminated and opened your eyes up. But you got to go do your research and study before you start naysaying. Because remember, anything being taught to somebody as a baby, of course you're going to believe when you're an adult. Okay? Right? The same as a man can be made without sperm. I didn't know that could happen. I've not seen one baby ever born that could be made without sperm. I don't care if it's in a test tube. Still got to have sperm. All right? So get to know what the earth truly looks like. It's very important that you understand it. It's the first Bible lesson of all man to learn. And to learn correctly. So-called NASA. You got to be ashamed of yourself. Anyway, this is a highly guided, or I would say guarded, secret. That actually isn't a secret. It's right in front of you. They just know most of you people are not going to read and figure it out on your own or do enough research to figure it all out. When you see firmament, what it's talking about. And when you see the waters being divided from waters, okay? You see that right here. The waters above the glass dome from the waters that are below, right here, okay? What they call the oceans and all that, okay? The seas, all right? This dome divides that, okay? And then here's the dry earth. And then the Most High puts a boundary around that, what they call Antarctica, okay? Or North Poles and all that. Really, it's just Antarctica, okay? It's just this ice belt. Now, there can be some right here in the middle that they would call North Pole, but most of it's right here. Like I said, boundaries out on the horizon, boundaries going down, and there are boundaries going up. That's why they can't go up with those rockets too far. They have to turn off and go up back into the sea. The same thing your eyes see on most videos. When you see them shoot a missile, it goes like this and it goes, Arr. Okay? It don't just keep traveling up. It can only go so far up. Okay? And that's all on YouTube. Go do your own research, guys. Thank you all for listening. This is a powerful lesson, and God is a powerful God. And we're thankful for what he has created and how good it is, the planet Earth. So let's take care of our Earth for us and future generations. Thank you guys for listening. Yakai.